Hello, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Kyung-won Kim. I will be a chairman for this Osstem meeting online. I am sincerely happy and great honor to be hosting for this Osstem meeting online program. Even though we are in the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic status since early this year, I would like to convey my encouragement and gratitude to all of you for continuing to work hard in the field, despite of many challenging circumstances. Today's Osstem meeting online session will be exciting live surgery and as well as lectures from Korea and Russia. And I think today's session will be much more meaningful if you participate via the YouTube live chat. I hope that you could participate and make Osstem meeting online by yourself via communicating with speakers in real time. At first, today's first lecture will be held by Dr. Yongjin Kim. His topic is Maxillary anterior implant placements with OneGuide system and GBR with Ossbuilder. As I mentioned earlier, he will perform the live surgery using OneGuide system and GBR with Ossbuilder right after his lecture. Now, let me introduce Dr. Kim on the screen.
Hello, I'm Dr. Yongjin Kim from Korea. And nice to meet you guys again. And it's a great honor to perform a live surgery at this Osstem online meeting. First, I will explain my live surgery plan. This patient is a 76 years old female patient. Chief complaint was severe mobility of left upper anterior bridge. She is presenting missing of right upper anterior teeth. This is pre-op condition, frontal view and occlusal view. And let's see the lateral view in the right side. As you all know, anterior implants should be placed with ideal position and angulation for exciting result. So I will place implant with OneGuide surgical template. I decided to use digital guided implant surgery to place implant well. To use OneGuide system, we merged the CBCT data and the surface scanning data. As shown in this screen, the merging quality is quite good. We used the virtual planning program called the Implant Studio from 3Shape company. On this program, prosthetic planning was done for the first time. This is a prosthetic design of this patient. Based on that prosthetic design, implant placement planning was done on the CBCT image. For this patient, 4 implants were planned. In the right upper second premolar area, 4.0 by 8.5 TS3 implant was planned. In the right upper canine, 3.5 by 10. In left upper canine, in left upper central incisor, 3.5 by 10 as well. In left upper canine, 3.5 by 10. Yeah, this is a OneGuide template design. As shown on this CBCT image, this patient has severe horizontal bone deficiency. So, 3-dimensionally preformed and customized titanium mesh called Ossbuilder will be used to make ideal bone support. To use this Ossbuilder, we should place implant and then before bone grafting, we should connect the anchor. And then bone grafting should be done. Finally, we should place the Ossbuilder covering the entire bone graft material. And this Ossbuilder can be connected to the implant with healing cap or cover cap, according to the situations. To summarize my live surgery plan, 4 implants will be placed with the OneGuide surgical template right after extraction. And then GBR using Ossbuilder will be done. Okay, then let the show begin and wish me luck. Thank you.
Extraction was done. 고개 오른쪽으로 돌려주시고요. Suction. The periodontal condition of adjacent tooth and implant is not so good. 오른쪽으로 확 돌려주실까요? 네. So I'll make an incision. Okay.
화면이 안 나와.
아프세요? 아래 눌려서? 아,
위에 거
위에 거?
상어요 여기.
아, 여기 아파요? 이건 괜찮아요? 뒤에 있는 임플란트도 좀 잇몸이 안 좋으셔서. 오케이. 오늘 좀 누를게요. 아파요? 마취 더 줘. 마취 더 줘. 이게 아프셨구나. 네. So I will elevate the flap from the left side. 여긴 괜찮으시죠? 머리 힘 주고 계세요. So you can see the severe bone deficiency here around canine. As I mentioned, this right molar implant has severe peri-implantitis, but so I will maintain. After delivering the anterior prosthesis, I will treat this implant. Okay, flap elevation was done. OneGuide template. Hide. So, to place implant in ideal position and angulation, I will use this OneGuide template. So this OneGuide template will be supported by adjacent implant prosthesis, so I could open the flap.
뱉지 마세요. 하세요. 네.
So initial drilling. 어머니 물 좀 나와요.
하세요.
Yeah, canine. So I will use flattening drill first. And then light canine area. Second premolar. Here, both canine and central incisor area, I will place 3.5 by 10.
들리나 봐.
So this is a 3.5 by 10 one guide drill. And then canine. The central incisor. But in the second premolar area, I placed 4.0 by 8.5. So this is a F3.5 by 8.5. And the second premolar area, the bone quality is not so good. So I will do undersized drilling. 이리게이션하고 임플란트 쪽 3.5회씩부터. This is 3.5 by 10.
크게 하세요. 크게.
And then I will do depth control from the left side. Yeah, bone quality, stability is quite good. Okay. And I will leave this picture driver to support surgical template. One more 3.5 by 10 in the light canine. Okay, depth control. And then one more. Three point by 10 in left central incisor. Okay, finally, I will place 4.0 by 8.5.
아, 크게 해주세요.
아, 크게요.
크게 안 돼요, 언니. 아, 하고 계세요.
Because I performed undersized drilling, so the initial stability is quite good. Yeah, the depth control was good. Okay. The implant placement was done. 4 implants was placed. Okay, let's check. 블레이드 새 걸로 바꿔. 아프세요? 괜찮으세요? 네. 네.
마세요. 네.
Okay. As I expected, the canine area, the implant was exposed here, and then was central incisor area. 마취 더 줘. So patient feels some pain, so I will do numbing.
뱉지 마세요.
The patient has a slight painful, so the additional anesthesia infiltrate of anesthetic.
우리 오른쪽으로 확 돌려주실까요? Okay, so as you can see, this area, the alveolar bone was extruded, extrudia extrusion. So I planned deep enough in the planning program. So I will cut this area.
Yeah, he cut the too much alveolar bone, so he removed the alveolar bone for the left side anterior area.
Let's see the implant placement. Yeah. 턱 들어보시고요, 어머니. Yeah. The canine implant was placed well, quite good. Yeah, I think because of this inflammation around pre-existing implants, so the depth of numbing is not so deep. Okay.
Yeah,
Even though the extraction socket is quite narrow, so I could place implant well because thanks to OneGuide template.
yeah. Dr. Kim already placed the implant by the Osstem OneGuide system, and the 4 implant is good placed as he planned. And you can see some exposure of the fixtures and the thread. And he will trim the left anterior area, has some to hide the alveolar bone height.
So in left canine area, I will connect the healing abutment. And then in right canine and the left central incisor area, I will do GBR with Ossbuilder.
Yes.
So this is a healing cap, healing abutment.
Yeah, left canine area is connect to the healing abutment, and the implant is placed in the inside side of the socket area, extension socket area.
고개 왼쪽으로 돌려주세요. In the right second premolar area, I will connect this cover cap. Because this is a completely healed site, so you don't need to worry about the lack of soft tissue. Yeah, so let's do the GBR. 이해해 보실까요? 딱 물어보세요.
He will do the GBR, the anterior areas.
Cortical perforation will be done to get blood supply.
Yeah, he did the cortical perforation for the blood supply of the graft materials. Dr. Kim, you did the roundabout?
Yeah, right.
roundabout. Roundabout, yeah. He did the straight roundabout and the
3mm짜리 링커.
anterior area is cortical perforation for the good blood supply for the graft materials.
미니용으로 3mm. So I'll connect the anchor to use Ossbuilder.
What millimeter of the ankle height?
3.0
3.0, yeah.
because I planned deep placement.
Yeah. He connected the ankle. The height is 3 millimeters.
하나 더.
And for the 21
뒤에 빠졌어.
implant,
하나 더. One more anchor in right canine.
yeah, right canine area, he connected the ankle. Also, ankle height is 3 millimeters.
Okay. So during planning on the program, I could expect the amount of the subcluster installation, so I could prepare the appropriate length of anchor.
Yes. Yeah, he placed the implant the very deep sites. After then, the 3 millimeters anchors connected for the GBR.
In right canine area, the palatal bone also resolved. So I will regenerate. I will augment the both palatal and link buccal side.
Yeah.
So I will use this 3-wall augmentation type Ossbuilder.
Ossbuilder.
Yes, adaptation.
Yeah, usually the Ossbuilder has 3 kinds, and he will do the Ossbuilder of the buccal side, labial side, also with the palatal side also.
플랩 좀 당겨줘.
And he placed the graft material is allogenic bone graft materials.
And now I'm placing the allogenic
Bones. Yeah,
Sure.
yes.
So today I will perform the sandwich bone augmentation technique. Around exposed implant to make a patient own bone, allogenic graft material is best. And then outside I will place xenogenic bone to
Yeah.
maintain the volume.
Yeah. Yeah, he did the GBR with the two kinds of the graft materials. The allogenic bone first, and for the newborn formations is contact with the host bone. This is allogenic bone. After then, he will apply the xenogenic bone also. Yeah.
조금만 올리지 말고 반대쪽 올려줘. Yes, okay.
Yeah, abundant augmentation of the with the
Now-
allogenic bone.
I will place this. This is AOS.
Yeah, AOS is a bovine bone and xenogenic bone graft materials. Yeah, it's a kind of the sandwich bone graft or layered bone graft technique. I think that he want to do the allogenic bone is a newborn formation is very good, but sometimes very resorption. So he preserve and the space maintenance with the genogenic bone, such as Osstem implant make the AOS bovine bone. The bovine bone is overlying the allogenic bone, and for the good augmentation. You can see the abundant augmentation of the labial side of the two implants. You can see.
So as you know, to maintain the vertical bone level around the implant, at least 1.5 to 2 millimeter buccal bone thickness is required. So the graft material should be greater than 2.0.
Yeah.
팔라탈 쪽에도 그렇구나.
Yeah.
Now I'm placing.
He wants to the more than 2 millimeters of the labial bone, so he augmented abundant bone with the allogenic bone and the bovine bone and the genogenic bone graft materials. It's a sandwich graft technique.
보여주고.
And the application of the Ossbuilder.
턱 아파요?
Yeah, this Ossbuilder has labial side the augmentation, also with the augmentation for the palatal side.
말씀하세요. 이거 때문에 이거 빼드릴게. 이거 불편했어? 빼드릴게요.
Yeah, the patient has a slight discomfort of the mouth opening the appliance, so he removed the retraction.
지금 괜찮아요?
And yeah, he connected the cover cap for the so the Ossbuilder is a good fixation with the fixtures and can hold the. Yeah, he abundant bone graft and he afraid of the soft tissue is very thin, so he wants to the collagen membranes overlying to the Ossbuilder. Application of the another Ossbuilder to the number 21 side of the implant. Yeah, this implant has there is no wing of the palatal areas. This is only the augmentation of the labial side. And he can apply of the cover cap for the fixation of the Ossbuilder appropriate position. Yeah, usually you can the fixation of the with the cover cap at the time the holding the appropriate position of the Ossbuilder.
In the canine area, I will fill the gap. Gap filling.
Yeah, he applied of the extraction socket area of the canine area, and there is a extraction socket is a gap filling with the allogenic bones. Before the extraction, there are extensive alveolar bone resorption, so the extraction socket is very quick. And Dr. Kim and apply the palatal side of the right canine area, and the
0.15짜리.
is this genogenic bone graft material? Dr. Kim is genogenic bone graft material, bovine bone. Yeah, bovine bone. Yeah.
AOS.
Yeah, bovine bone on the palatal side for the maintenance of the volume and you can see the right canine area is the Ossbuilder has the wing of the palatal side also. Usually for the palatal side augmentation with the genogenic bone graft materials, bovine bone.
Okay, the bone grafting was done. 좀 더 줘.
Yeah,
This
yes,
is-
yes. And the left canine area also the more augmented with the bovine bone and xenogenic bone graft materials for the space maintenance.
Okay. And then I will cover entire bone graft material with resorbable collagen membrane, soft type. So my favorite one is Ossguide.
Yeah, Ossguide is resorbable collagen membrane, and maybe he wants to the more protection of the thin mucosa.
Yeah, before placing the Ossguide, I will advance the buccal flap to get the tension-free primary closure.
Yes, he will do the periosteal releasing incision for the closure of the wound with primary healing without closure without tension.
Yeah, the major mucosa area, this patient feels some pain.
The patient is slightly painful of the labial side. He did the more local anesthetic for the pain control.
And then before doing releasing incision, it will be much better to do some numbing to control the bleeding.
Yes. Dr. Kim has for the local anesthesia of the labial side for the because of the patient has slight painful, but this and also has local anesthesia with epinephrine has bleeding control for the periosteal releasing
the
incisions.
periosteum here.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see the advancement of labial flap.
Yeah, he can do the incision of the periosteum for the releasing of the labial flap and for the tension-free closure of the labial flap. He did the when usually using the periosteal releasing incision at the time, though, you can make with the new knife maybe good because of the clear cut of the periosteum for the releasing incision. Yeah, he did the periosteal releasing incision with new knife blade, and for the
And then for more advancement, submucosal layer
with the
dissection.
dissection. He did the dissection of the for the releasing of the labial flap, and with the subperiosteal releasing.
Okay. And let's check the advancement of buccal flap.
Yeah, usually the before the closure of the flap, and
Okay.
you can see identify the tension
good.
free. Yeah, that's good.
석션해 드려라. Okay.
Yeah, this is the resorbable collagen membrane, and collagen membrane apply for the and overlying on the Ossbuilder.
So with this collagen membrane, I will cover the entire graft material. As shown, this patient has very thin gingiva biotype. So to prevent the Ossbuilder exposure during very early healing period, this collagen membrane coverage over the Ossbuilder is quite good.
Yeah, Dr. Kim said because of the patient has the gingiva is very thin and the thin biotype, for the protection of the too early exposure of the Ossbuilder, so he applied the collagen membrane over the Ossbuilder area. Full coverage. He covered the full coverage of the graft materials and with Ossbuilder for the protection of the early exposure of the Ossbuilder during the healing period. Yeah, can see this is another OSSguide collagen membrane for the protection of the soft tissue.
Okay. Yeah, membrane coverage was done. And then now I will close the flap. 당겨줘.
Yeah, Dr. Kim has already the periosteal releasing incision for the tension-free flap. So he can apply approximation of the flap of the good area. So he will do the closure of the center area because of the he did the center area of the closure, first closure. After then, the left canine area is also because of the sometimes there are some 2 or 3 points at first. After then, the application.
So this is a key suture to reposition the papilla. 네, 어머니 물로 해드릴게요.
Yeah, Dr. Kim wants to the key position of the left canine area is papilla, so he did the
제가 물로 한번
closure
해드릴
of the
테니까.
canine area.
예. 뱉지 마시고 제가 다 빨아들여 드릴게요. 왼쪽 먼저 받자. 자, 그 오른쪽으로 확 돌려주시고요. Papilla between first premolar and second premolar area.
Yeah, he already did the periosteal releasing is abundantly, so that you can see the flap approximation is very good, and there is no tension. Tension-free suture is very important, such as GBR, and especially the Dr. Kim already did the abundant bone graft materials for the GBR, and at such a case, you can see the tension-free flap approximation is very important for the prevent of the exposure of the flap and the wound dehiscence, prevention of the wound dehiscence. So I think that in such a case, the more important is the periosteal releasing incision for the tension-free, and sometimes the not sufficient tension-free releasing incision at the time the too tight closure of the flap at the time the flap exposure. So he will do the suture of the right side, and you can see there is no tension, and I think that it is very important for the tension free of the periosteal releasing incision is very important for the good approximation of the flap. There is no tension, and the key suture of the right premolar area. Yeah, Dr. Kim already did the sufficient the periosteal releasing incision, so even though the immediate implant after extraction, you can see the flap is very good approximation without exposure.
Here.
I think it's abundant. In this case, as a very abundant bone graft materials, so sometimes the tension-free flap approximation is very difficult. So before the closure of the wound, and the periosteal releasing incision is very important. And he already did the abundant, sufficient periosteal releasing incision, and you can see the flap approximation is very good and without tension.
And then I will do horizontal matrix suture for wide surface contact between buccal and lingual flap.
Yeah, he did the right side is horizontal matrix suture for the good approximation of the flap.
Yeah. The key suture was done with a simple interrupted suture. So then I will do.
Yeah, he did the sutures of the central area is at first. After then, both side area is for the key suture, and after then you can see the good approximation of the flap. After then, the interrupted sutures of the remaining areas.
Yeah.
Now he has also a horizontal matrix suture.
By making this horizontal matrix suture, you can see eversion of flap.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Kim had did the horizontal matrix suture for the eversion of the wound. You can see the the canine area is also the tissue is everted.
And then to get watertight suture, one more interrupted suture at the center of horizontal matrix suture.
Yeah.
This is my technical tip.
And yeah, he did the horizontal matrix suture first. After then, in the center, he did the interrupted suture for the watertight suture for the good closure of the wound, for the prevention of the post-op wound dehiscence.
One more horizontal matrix suture. You can see the eversion here.
Yeah, Dr. Kim, do you use what kind of the suture materials?
Yeah, this is a PTFE suture material.
Yeah, this is a PTFE suture materials. Yeah, as you know, the PTFE is a material for the Gore-Tex, and usually the Gore-Tex is PTFE is expanded type. This is a PTFE suture materials.
So the main advantage of this PTFE suture is the elasticity, unlike the lying loan.
Yeah.
So I think this when after GBR, this PTFE suture material is quite good because we can control the tension during making second knot. Yeah, let's see this case. Now I'm making horizontal matrix suture. This is a first knot, but during making the second knot, we can control the tension like this. If we wanted to make a more tension, we can make that tension. So that's the main advantage. I will do additional simple interrupted suture. So
Yeah, Dr. Kim said the PTFE suture material is very good for the tension control and with the flap control.
it's almost done here. I will close the vertical incision from the right side. Yeah, that will be a final suture.
Yeah. Dr. Kim has already the sutures almost done, and the approximation of the flap of the for the primer closure. After then, he will do the the vertical releasing sutures incisions.
Sorry, here in the extraction socket area, I will do one more suture. This is a cross matrix suture, figure of 8 suture. 거의 다 되셨어요?
Yeah, he did the figure of 8, and for the closure of the extraction socket areas because of this is the immediate implant after the extraction of the tooth. And he did the immediate placement after extraction, but he already did the
왼쪽으로요.
perosteal releasing sufficiently, so you can see the
이해해보세요.
flap is a very good approximation without tension.
Yeah, because of peri-implantitis around the pre-existing implant, the soft tissue quality is not so good. But this patient is quite old patient, so I will do conservative therapy during waiting healing.
Yeah, he said the patient is elder patient, so for the preservation and the.
Switch hours, this is the final switch. Okay.
He did the final suture of the right, the vertical incision.
So one more switch here. The papilla. Yeah, and then after check, let's check during eating something or during eating, the labial upper lip will retract the buccal flap, but by making appropriate horizontal matrix suture, this flap can withstand from the tension from the upper lip. Yeah, quite good. So, 앙 물어보세요. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Dr. Kim already did the all eye surgeries after the closure of the wound.
Yeah, and then I will take a panorama and the CBCT, and then let's have a Q&A session.
I think that Dr. Kim's lecture and his live surgery is very wonderful and outstanding. And I think that the viewers and give him a big hand. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that this response for viewers and clearly show that. So let's take some time for live Q&A sessions. Yeah, there are many questions in the live, and the first question is, when will you do the second stage surgery?
Usually, according to the defect size, we should decide the appropriate healing time of the CBI. But in this case, I think for 4 to 5 months it will be enough. So I will do second stage surgery 4 to 5 months after.
And you did the graft material is sandwich graft with the allogenic bone first, after then the xenogenic bone graft materials. At the time, you can do how long do you wait to the second surgery?
So usually, to get complete the remodeling of the bone, we should wait more than 6 months.
Yes.
But 6 months is too long to my patient, so I think the 4 to 5 months later, second uncovering, and then I will make a textile provisional restoration.
Yes, I see. I understand because of you did the allogenic bone first. After then, you can do the second surgery more earlier. And there is a second question is, how can you remove the Ossbuilder? Maybe you did the Ossbuilder, and maybe the question is how can we remove the Ossbuilder? Some special tip or surgical tip?
So as shown during my live surgery, Ossbuilder was connected with the cover cap simply on the top of the implant. So after flap elevation, to remove the Ossbuilder, we just remove the cover cap and then dissection along the outer surface of Ossbuilder. That's good.
Yes. And you did the Ossbuilder covering with the collagen membrane.
Yeah.
Maybe it is more effective for the GBR.
Yeah, like by preventing the Ossbuilder exposure.
Yeah. And you can usually did such a collagen membrane.
Yeah, some situation if I can harvest the connective tissue from the palate, that's another alternative method. But most of the cases, I usually cover my Ossbuilder with OssGuide.
Yeah, yes. OssGuide is collagen membrane.
membrane.
Yes. And how will you make the final processes?
So the main reason why I used the plan this the digital guided implant surgery to this patient is to make one-piece type prosthesis. So by adjusting the implant angulation, I will be able to make a one-piece type prosthesis, final prosthesis.
Yeah, and there is you can do you did use the PTFE suture materials.
Yeah, right.
You already said, but there is also question. What is the advantage of the PTFE suture materials?
Yeah, so the first one, as I said, the elasticity, unlike the nylon. Nylon is quite stiff, so tension control during making knot is quite difficult when using nylon.
Yeah.
But when using this PTFE suture material, we can control the tension during making second knot or third knot.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's good.
That's good.
And maybe we don't have enough time. Maybe this is the final question. Maybe if you said before the gingiva is very thin this area, after 6 months you can have any plan for the CTG or FGG?
Right. Yeah. After buccal flap advancement, coronal advancement of buccal flap, the vestibule will be shallow,
Yes.
and then the amount of keratinized gingiva will be decreased. So according to the healing status, I will do vestibuloplasty with the apical portion of flap along with the pre-gingiva graft, but sometimes to change it, the gingiva biotype, connective tissue graft will be done during the second stage surgery.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do the such as the FGG or CTG.
Yeah.
Maybe the second topic is FGG.
Yeah,
so
right.
we will discuss about
Yeah,
that.
right.
And there is also another questions. Also, we have some time.
Yeah.
And in such a case, what is the main advantage of the OneGuide surgery?
Usually, when placing in the edentulous state, when placing in this anterior area, the implant position is quite a determining factor to make aesthetic prosthesis.
Yes.
So, as shown during my first lecture, prosthetic planning should be done to use OneGuide system.
Yeah.
So, based on that prosthetic planning, I could decide the position of implant placement. So, I believe that the final result of this implant prosthesis is quite aesthetic. That's the main advantage.
I think that you can do also the CBCT scan and the merging of the oral scan. So maybe you can have a virtual plan for the final processes. And you can locate the implant, the ideal position for the more aesthetic results. I'm so sorry that we don't have enough time. So thank you very much again, Dr. Kim.
Thank you.
Your first lecture and the wonderful life surgery. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me and to let me share my experience today. My name is Chingu Kim, a Korean periodontist. It's my pleasure and honor to present my slide to you, and I prepared my lectures focused on free gingiva graft and the modalities to successfully gain sufficient amount of attached gingiva. First of all, we should discuss why we have to perform free gingiva graft despite of inconvenience and commodity. in the mouth, there's a line that called mucogingival junction, and this is the area of union of the gingiva and alveolar mucosa. And below this line, we call this area as alveolar mucosa. It is loosely attached to the underlying tissue, so it is highly movable tissue. And below the mucogingival junction, there's two keratized tissue. The first one is attached gingiva. It is tightly bound to the underlying periosteum or tooth on the bone. And the second thing is free gingiva. It is the part of the gingiva that surrounds the tooth, and it is not directly attached to the tooth, but it has the function of protection of the tooth or implant processes. And Dr. Maynard recently presented that keratized gingiva is a concept of marginal gingiva and attached gingiva. And this keratized tissue gives the physiologic benefit. About 3 years ago, Dr. James Kennedy evaluated the effect of attached gingiva and the free gingiva graft. In 6-year follow-up after free gingiva graft, the increased dimension of keratized gingiva was stable and brought significant reduction of inflammation and plaque accumulation. Let's compare left and right picture. Left side, vocal part of the healing abutment is alveolar mucosa, and the right side is surrounded by keratized gingiva. As we know, two different tissues have different character. As far as we know, keratized gingiva is better for borderline tissue around implant. Alveolar mucosa and keratized gingiva have different structure, especially in lamina propria. The density of collagen fiber is remarkably different, and the fixation of fiber to periosteum in alveolar mucosa is disturbed by fat tissue or gland tissue. So keratized gingiva has a tight fixation on periosteum. This structural difference makes the disparity of a mechanical property. There have been a controversy about the need of peri-implant keratized tissue. Waller told that the absence of keratized mucosa around the implant increases the susceptibility of the plaque-induced tissue destruction. But other authors repeated that no major difference in the clinical parameters, just like the PI or GI or BOP, some kind of the soft tissue parameters, there's no difference in the soft tissue indexes. Actually, numerous authors have been debating about the necessity of a peri-implant keratized gingiva over many years. In this situation, systematic review article can be a very reliable source. In this systematic review article, Homley Wang suggested that keratized gingiva makes positive effect only on the soft tissue zone, but there's no difference on bone zone. So there's no difference on BOP or bone loss or probing depth. Dr. Lucy Yanserker's long-term follow-up revealed that more than 2 mils of keratized mucosa reduce peri-mucositis. And Dr. Greenstein claimed in another review article that keratized gingiva group around the implant is statistically better than without group in BOP, PI, GI attachment loss. But there's not enough quantitative difference. So the decision to augment the keratized gingiva is up to each clinician. Then, what step should we take? Let's see the picture. In this case, there's only marginal gingiva that remained around the implant. But soft tissue condition is not bad. Only mild redness is found. Then I do evaluate it as acceptable. How about this case? There is a fixed exposure with high plaque accumulation and separation is found. It's peri-implantitis. It's obviously unfailable. How about this? It's good. It's failable. As you see, the mucogingival junction is far from the implant processes and enough attached gingival zone is found. I think it's available. And how about this case? Even though missing attached gingiva, this patient has deep vocal vestibule, so we cannot find the sign of inflammation of soft tissue around the implant. I think it's acceptable situation. Then, how much amount of attached gingiva is needed? Various criteria was suggested, but my choice is 2 mils, each same to the length and loss. So this is my conclusion about the peri-implant soft tissue. The first one is that presence of attached mucosa could be better for maintaining healthy peri-implant condition. And deep vestibule can make fine soft tissue condition despite absence of attached mucosa. And last thing is attached gingival regaining is consolable in the case of attached mucosa is less than 2 mils. Let's discuss about the APAP. Apical portion flare operation could be a part of pre-gingival graft, and it's a key procedure of pre-gingival graft. After partial thickness flap operation, move the gingival margin to apical with suture, then expose the periosteum goes healing process. So after AFib, fix the graft on the exposed periosteum. We call this procedure as a free gingival graft. As I mentioned in previous slide, if we perform APAP with only without graft, it will be healed by secondary healing process. Let's see the case. This 70-year-old male patient has a severe problem on his second premolar implant, and there's severe bone loss. So as you see, there's severe bone defect surround the implant. So I decided to extract this implant, and I placed new implant and performed GBL with the PTFE membrane and the allograft. After surgery, I made a primary closure with a suture, and after 3 months, as you see, there is a severe soft tissue problem on the buccal side. There is only alveolar mucosa remained. And after second surgery, as you see, high frame attachment was found too, and there's a very thin attached gingiva remained on the buccal side of the healing abutment. So I performed APAP more than 5 mils from 2. And after that, 2 weeks later, we can find this kind of lesion. As you see, deep vestibule regaining was found. And at the day of process delivery, as you see, the result was fine. But after 4 years, as you see, only marginal gingiva remained on the buccal side of the processes. So anyway, I finished this case like this. And as you see, in the CT scan, there's no bony change for 4 years after process delivery. But soft tissue condition was not good. It is not satisfactory to me. In this case, I found 2 root rest, so I extracted and placed 2 implants with the GBL. So like this. And after 10 weeks, the healing was fine, but as you see, loss of attached gingiva on the buccal side was found. So I performed APAP over 5 years. So in this case, I applied periodontal pack for under protection, and after 2 weeks, after 4 weeks, as you see, fine soft tissue condition is found. And attach gingival regaining was done. And 1 week later, I delivered the prosthesis. But as you see, there's a relapse tendency was found around the implant processes. But in this case, this patient has high buccal vestibule, so I think it cannot become a severe problem. But I found relapse tendency too. So I finished this case like this. So the APF only technique has some advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is the easy surgery and short operation time than the Friedgenberg graft, and there's no more donor side morbidity and the pain of the patient. But as you see, there's a relapse tendency after surgery, and the thinning of the soft tissue thickness is found. So my tip for easy APAP is, the first thing is tight flat fixation on the apical position, and second thing is the overextension to compensate relapse. And the third thing is periodontal pack could be useful, and the key of success is creating deep buccal vestibule. Let's talk about Friedgenberg graft. Friedgenberg graft is the surgery that soft tissue graft from remote site to recipient site. Then, where is the best donor site? Dr. Armin compared the palate and tuberosity as a donor site for Friedgenberg graft, and the result was there's no difference on healing of a graft site. But after healing, the gingival thickness was thicker in tuberosity than palate, and the pain level was low in the tuberosity area. Then, tuberosity is the most appropriate donor site for Friedgenberg graft. Despite of post-op pain or morbidity, palate would be preferred by easy access and much amount of graft available. So my choice is palate in almost all cases. In this article, authors investigate the palate soft tissue thickness with CT scan to evaluate where is the best site for donor site for Friedgenberg graft. And in aspect of thickness and access and underlying tissue, they concluded that canine to premolar region is the most appropriate donor site. Leiser and his colleagues separate the palate with two parts as a fatty zone and glandular zone. Ideal donor site is located both zones from distal of the canine to middle of first molar, and the incision line must be apart from marginal gingiva at least 4 millimeters. Then this area can be the best donor site. Fat and gland tissue would exist on the deep portion of the palatal donor site, so we must harvest graft tissue with 1 to 1.5 millimeter thickness. Deeper tissue harvesting would be the reason for bleeding or nerve damage. Then, how graft tissue survive? Dr. Nobudo, a famous Japanese periodontologist, suggests these 3 healing phases in his legendary article. First phase is initial phase within 3 days. In this phase, oxygen and nutrient would be given to the graft tissue by only plasmic circulation with exudate, because there's no circulation. For bowel healing, close contact could be helpful, and thick exudate layer or blood clot make poor leisure. And next phase, revascularization phase would last 11 days. In this phase, vessel reconstruction would be built, anastomosis could be formed in 5 days. So in this phase, graft tissue shows bloody. reepithelialization is made from adjacent tissue proliferation, not from underlying periosteum. And for next 1 month, vascular system turned normal, and epithelial mature could be acquired by keratin layer formation. In this lesion, 2 thick grafts hardly survive in initial healing phase because it's unfavorable for plasmic circulation. But 2 thin graft tissue go severe contraction in maturation phase. 1 mm thickness would be fine, considering both viability and contraction. Let's see the case. In this middle-aged female patient has a cantilever bridge on her right molar area, so I extract 1 tooth and cut the processes. And I placed 2 implants with the GBL with the xenograft. And I have used the Ossbuilder. Ossbuilder is a reasonable type of Ossbuilder, but it is not commercially available now. Anyway, I have used it, and I made a primary closure on the site. And after 3 months, I found fine bone regeneration on the buccal side, but as you see, there's a severe soft tissue problem. As you see, alveolar mucosa is embedded to the lingual side of the healing abutment. So in this case, I decide to perform Friedrich graft. So for Friedrich graft, I have to perform APF prior. So after partial flap elevation, in this case, I made the wide partial flap elevation over than 10 mils, and I made the periosteal descent. This periosteal descent make reduce the lapse tendency. So for reducing the lapse, I always make the periosteal descent on the apical side of the periosteum. After that, I made a buccal flap fixation to the apical periosteal margin because I have made the periosteal descent. In this case, I like to use a micro-like reusable suture. And next time, I have to do the donor cell preparation. As I mentioned before, the incision line must be apart from the marginal gingiva at least 4 mils, and from the distal of the canine and to middle of the first molar, and the thickness 1 mil can be fine. After harvesting the tissue, I found the fat tissue, and if we find the fat tissue, we must remove the fat tissue. And next time, we have to fix the graft tissue on the recipient side. And the order of the fixation must be to the, first we have to start it from the mesial, and after that, we have to fix the distal. It's easy way to get the initial fixation of the graft tissue, and after that, we can make the suture on the collar and apical. In this case, I have used only single intersuture. And after 1 day, at the day of dressing, we can get this kind of lesion. As you see, the graft tissue has a whitish color. Why? Because this, after 1 day, this is the first healing phase. Then there's no vascular tissue. Only a plasmic circulation exists on the graft tissue. And after 2 weeks, vascular tissue, the full-on vascular tissue is found on the graft because it's the vascularization phase. And more 2 weeks later, I can find this kind of maturation of the graft tissue. And after that, as you see, wide attachment gingiva, attached gingiva is regained, and deep vessel formation was found. let's compare pre-op and post-op photo. I think light one is available. In the CT scan, the bone regeneration was fine, and I finished this case like this. This is second case. This young female patient had lost her left molars, so I placed 2 implants with the GBO, and I made the primary closer on the GBR side. But after 4 months later, as you see, there's a severe attached gingival loss on the buccal side, so I decided to perform free gingival graft. After partial thickness flare operation, in this case, I have used the artificial dome graft. Patient was worried about the morbidity of the donor side, so there's no option. So in this case, I have used this pterodermis, and after that, after 3 months, deep vestibular reconstruction was found, but poor attached gingival regaining was found too. So it is not satisfactory for me. So because this patient was a heavy smoker, so I decided to do it again with the autograft. So this is the photo of the second free gingival graft. After flap elevation, as you see, because I have used the artificial dome, so there's a very thick layer of connective tissue, so the color of the graft side is whitish and thick. And partial flap fixation was done, and after that, I made a donor side preparation with 1 millimeter thickness. And it's time to fix the graft tissue on the recipient side. But there's some problem. The graft tissue I harvested was smaller than the recipient side. So I have to overcome this size mismatch. There's some size mismatch. So I decide to make some incision on the graft tissue and stretch it. I imagine that. Then I can get the longer graft tissue despite the loss of the width of the graft tissue. So I decided to do it like this. So anyway, I fixed the graft tissue with the incision and stretching. After that, I fix it like this. As you see, after 2 weeks, well-united and healed tissue was found too. And after 4 weeks, fine buccal attached gingival regaining was done. And after 7 weeks, I delivered prosthesis. Let's compare the result of first OP with the allograft and the result of the autograft I have used. I think the light one, autograft, is better. So I finished this case like this. Fine buccal attached mucosa regaining was done. In the CT scan, the bone regeneration was poor. I think that this patient was a heavy smoker. Yep. Anyway, I finished this case like this. This is another case. Because I suffered from the size mismatch, so in this case, I decided to use the template for donor side preparation. So after implant placement, I place 2 implants with the GBO, and this is a result of the implant placement. And as you see, there's attached gingival loss on the buccal side. So I decided to perform free gingival graft. First, I perform APF, and I made the pedestal distance 2, and I fixed the legible suture with the legible suture. The reason I use the legible suture like the bicular on this suture is that sometimes it's very hard to remove this apical suture at the day of stitch out. So sometimes we have to wrap the stitch on the apical side. So in this case, the legible suture can be useful. So I like to use this bicular. Anyway, in this case, I measured the size and the shape of the recipient side with this paper. Actually, this paper is a paper that carrying the suture. Anyway, I use this paper and I deliver this paper on this template on the donor side, and I made the incision follow the margin of the template. And we can get this kind of incision line. Follow this incision line. I made the harvesting, and we can get this kind of same size and same shape of the graft tissue. After harvesting, sometimes you can encounter this kind of severe bleeding. In this case, I recommend you to use hemostatic cellulose, the surgery cell. It's very simple to this kind of bleeding on the donor side. After that, I fix the graft tissue on the recipient side with the 5G nylon suture. As you see, there's no gap and perfect size matching and the shape matching to the recipient side and graft, because I have used the template for donor side preparation. After 2 weeks, donor side and recipient side healing was fine. And after 2 more weeks, this kind of fine lesion, fine attached gingival regaining on the buccal side was found. So I delivered prosthesis. As you see, the result was very fine. And in the CT scan, there's no bony change and contour change for 2 years. This is the case. This young male patient has an apical lesion and urticarias on first molar, so I extract and this implant and place extract the tooth and place implant and perform GBL on the buccal side with the Ossbuilder, and over the Ossbuilder, I cover the side with the collagen membrane, and I made a suture. After 10 weeks, in the lipolar, as you see, the buccal bone regeneration was fine. But there's a high phlegm attachment and movable mucosa on the buccal side was found. So I decided to freeze my graft. After APF, I harvest the graft tissue from palate with the template and fix the graft tissue on the recipient side with 5 nylon suture. And this is a photo that I taken in after 1 week later at the surgery. As you see, the necrotic tissue was found, yellowish necrotic tissue is found on the center portion of the graft tissue. Especially the neighborhood area of the healing abutment shows poor healing because the epithelialization of graft tissue would be initiated from adjacent tissue, and healing abutment is blocking now. But after 2 weeks later, at the day of stitch out, we can find the healing around the whole graft area. And post of 1 month, fine soft tissue texture was found. As you see, about 3 to 4 meters of attached gingival zone is found at 1 month. And the position of the buccal frenum attachment is changed to the apically. And I finished this case like this. In the CT scan, the contour was fine. This is another case. This patient has suffered from severe periimplantitis, and one day he visited my clinic with these processes and extracted fixtures. So I have to perform implant treatment on his left molar area. As you see in the CT scan, the canine had a severe apical lesion, so it is very hard to place implant. As you see, before the surgery, the severe buccal defect was found. So anyway, I extract the 2 implants and place new implant and perform GBL with the xenograft and Ossbuilder. And I cover side with the collagen membrane, and I made the primary closure. And after 3 months, as you see, fine buccal bone contour was found, and buccal bone regeneration was fine. But despite of fine bone regeneration, the buccal bone and buccal soft tissue was very poor. There's no gingiva is found. So I decided to perform free gingiva graft. Because this patient has a wide GBL zone, so we have to perform APF widely. So in this case, I perform APF more than 5 meters of the width and fix the flap on the apex with the legible suture too. And I have used the template for donor site preparation, and after that, we can get this kind of marking harvest line. So I harvest the graft tissue from palate with 1 mm thickness. And after that, as you see, some yellowish tissue is found on the inner side of the graft tissue. It is fat tissue, and as I told you, we have to remove it. So I have removed the fat tissue with the sharp blade for good viability of the graft tissue. And I fix the graft on the recipient side. In this case, there's some mismatch of the length, graft length. So in this case, I have used the incision too. And after 1 day, as we expected, the color of the graft tissue is white. And after 2 weeks, after 4 weeks, the maturation of the graft tissue was done. After 4 weeks, the donor side was healed very well. Patient feels no pain in this point. So after 21 weeks, I delivered prosthesis. As you see, the mucogingival junction is far from the prosthesis, and the vestibule was reconstructed in very deep position. So in the CT scan for more than 1 year, the buccal bone contour is, I think, it's very fine, very good state. So I finished this case like this. This is the last case of today. This 55 years old female patient has reported to my clinic for implant treatment on right mandible edentulous area. More than 30 years of the missing state, there's a severe buccal bone defect, so I perform GBR too. After 3 months, a fine buccal bone formation was found on the buccal side, GBR side, but there's lack of attached gingiva was found after second surgery. So I decided to free gingiva graft again. After wide flap elevation over 5 years, I fixed the graft tissue from palate with 5-0 or 6-0 sutures. In this case, as you see, I delivered the surgical wafer for donor side protection. And we can use this wafer for bleeding control. After 2 weeks, revascularization was done, but donor side is healed with a secondary healing. And after 4 weeks, revascularization was done, and fine attached gingiva maturing was found. And I delivered processes. As a result, enough attached gingiva joint was found on the buccal side. In the CT scan, I can get the satisfactory. And this is the result of this patient. Only consensus report about soft tissue augmentation was reported in 2015 at first EAO consensus conference that vertical soft tissue thickening posterior mandible is marginal implant bone loss may be reduced. And the coverage of the exposed implant or abutment surface related to shallow marginal soft tissue recession may be achieved by the means of CAF or CTG. Subjective and objective aesthetic result may be improved by means of soft tissue augmentation procedure. And this is another review article, systematic review of the Daniel Thoma. And he presents that combination of APF and autogenous tissue is successful treatment for increase of attached gingiva. And he, in his article, he expressed the effect of each procedure as a graph. As you see, the effect of the APF can be 4 years, and the free gingiva graft, the effect of graft tissue can be 1 over 1 year. So he concluded that APF is the key of the attached gingiva regaining, and free gingiva graft would be better. But there are some advantages of free gingiva graft. As you know, after donor side preparation, there is no keratinic tissue on the donor side, so the donor side morbidity and the pain can be the disadvantage. Dr. Giucelli told how to reduce post-morbidity in his news article that for less morbidity and pain, we have to harvest graft tissue from donor side less than 14 meters in width and less than 4 meters in height and less than 2 meters in thickness. And he introduced the protective materials, PRP or PLF, and hyaluronic acid or ozone therapy. But as you know, growing blood before the surgery and making PLF or PRP, I think it could be another morbidity and expensive option to clinicians. So protective materials could be easy option for clinicians. Surgical gel foam is widely used material for this purpose, and Surgicel shows fast healing than gel foam. But Surgicel shows epidemic bleeding sometimes. In Turkey, plant extract have used for breathing control, and cyanoacrylated surgical glue can be applied. But my choice is surgical wafer. Usually surgical wafer is very helpful for breathing control or under protection. But as I mentioned it before, left-handed is another disadvantage of the fridge-back graft. This is an article about the shrinkage of the fridge-back graft. Most shrinkage occurs within 1 month, and fridge-back graft should be wider than recipient side. But it's very hard to harvest the graft tissue wider than the recipient side. So I think the wide flap elevation at the APF and the same size of the graft tissue can be fine for real situation. This is another article about the comparison of various modality for vestibuloplasty. He told that APF only or APF and collagen matrix technique shows high shrinkage rate of the established tissue. So he suggests that despite of donor side morbidity, fridge-back graft can be the solution. After 6 months or after 12 months, more than 6% of shrinkage on APF only or APF and collagen matrix group, but fridge-back graft group has only 30% of shrinkage. So considering the shrinkage of the graft tissue, fridge-back graft using autograft can be the solution, I think. And we have to remember that epithelial healing is acquired from adjacent tissue proliferation, not from the underlying periosteum. If we have the inside of this, we can use another technique. Dr. Urban told that another alternative technique. We can apply collagen matrix on the recipient side where surrounded by attached gingiva. Dr. Urban presents ultimate combination technique of fridge-back graft and collagen matrix. So collagen matrix covered side where surrounded with attached gingiva will heal as attached gingiva. So this is conclusion and the tip for predictable fridge-back graft today. The suture must be done meticulously, and accurate harvesting on the donor side with the template, and reduce gap between graft tissue and recipient side, and considering periosteal distance, and remove adipose tissue before use on the graft tissue. Is my tip and conclusion for predictable fridge-back graft. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that this is the first time that you having an Osstem meeting online program.
Yeah.
How about your feeling about the first impression?
Actually, I have been had many lectures in Osstem meeting offline, but this is my first time in Osstem meeting online. So I think it's a little bit different because there's no audience.
Yes.
So I have to talk on the camera, so
Yes.
I think it's a little bit different, and
Yeah.
I feel it a little bit
Yeah, but
difficult.
I see, I understand. I think that your topic is very interesting. Let's move to the live Q&A session with Dr. Kim. I think that there is some questions, but this is the first question is what millimeters of thickness would you recommend for the appropriate recipient sites?
Recipient site.
Yeah.
Actually, the most appropriate recipient site thickness is 1 mil or less than 1 mil. I think leaving only the periosteum can be the best option because the remaining movable connective tissue over the periosteum can hesitate the healing process. In the especially in first healing phase. So I recommend you remove all the connective tissue above the periosteum.
Yeah. You mean the recipient site is also 1 millimeter?
Yeah, less than 1 millimeter.
And I think that what do you think about the free gingival graft thickness? Is
graft tissue thickness? I think actually I prepared the appropriate thickness in the discussion, but I can show you. Anyway, the most appropriate thickness can be 1 mil. My choice, but many authors recommend 1 to 1.5 mils is the best.
I see. And the second question is, which one is the best option for hemostasis on donor site? Maybe I think that there is some kind of the method of the hemostasis, and such as the electrocautery or gauze packing. What is the best option of the donor site hemostasis?
I think the best option is actually the surgical wafer. It's very easy and simple, and it is, with the surgical template we can save the time. But the second choice can be the Surgicel because sometimes I have used many material, but Surgicel can, after application of the Surgicel and over that, I sometimes use the surgical wafer. This can be the best option.
What do you make the surgical wafer is made by the Omnibag or such as the?
Just like the orthodontic appliance.
I understand. And there also question is there any tips for easy suture for the posterior mandible area? Maybe very difficult area of the suturing.
Actually, the posterior mandible is the most frequent the free gingival graft site, and it's very hard to make the appropriate suture in this area. But so my suggestion and my recommendation is that making periosteal descent on this side. In this case, if there is no descent, we have to make the suture with the horizontal matrix like suture, because there is only underlying periosteum. It is very hard because the access and visuality is very poor. But if you make the incision on the periosteum, the apical margin of the periosteum, it is very easily can be sutured by the single intertooth suture. I recommend you making the periosteal descent.
And there is another questions. You present some cases with the apical position flap, and some cases is apical flap plus FGG. Do you have any special criteria for such a process?
Actually, nowadays I prefer to perform free gingival graft, but sometimes patients do not want to having the free gingival graft because of the palatal donor site morbidity and the pain. Very afraid of that. So because it's up to the patient. If the patient wants to the free gingival graft, I do.
I understand. I'm so sorry again about the technical problem of the internet transmission. So the disruption of the PPT. I'm so sorry about that.
I'm sorry too.
And the next time we will have more good lectures with you and Dr. Kim. Thank you very much, Dr. Kim.
Thank you.
Now we have to close this session. Dr. Kim is so and meticulous answers may be more meaningful for Q&A sessions. Thank you very much again, Dr. Jin-Gu Kim.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's time to close this Osstem meeting online and say goodbye to viewers all over the world. I hope today's session helps you when you treat your patient moving forward. The Osstem meeting online program always open for your inquiries and feedback. We are looking forward to your continued interest and support. That's all we have today's Osstem meeting online session from Korea. But we do have the lectures from coming up right away in Russia. We would appreciate your support for the upcoming lectures as well. I am Dr. Kyung-won Kim, and I enjoyed hosting the Osstem meeting online program today. And thank you very much again. And I'm so sorry about that the internet connection problems. Thank you very much.